All right, so Pearl went and debated some dude. I don't know his name. Um, I think it's irrelevant, but you can see the YouTube channel right there is Pence with Aquinas. Um, and the reason that I want to cover this is because they did. I forget what the format is called, but she get 10 minutes. He gets to rebuttal. Then she gets to rebuttal. Then he gets 10 minutes. Some shit like that. I forget exactly. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but that's the format. And in his rebuttal to her, I want to address some things. Now I don't want to address everything, but I listen. I'm not. Y'all know I'm not the type to edit, so you're going to hear him maybe speak for 3 minutes before I cut him off, which is probably a good thing for y'all because I cut off quite a bit. Um, but real quick, I skipped Pearls because you already know what Pearl's position is. She kind of just ran it off the same shit she always rants off and blah blah blah. Um, One thing that she said that he actually pointed out, or somebody in the comment section pointed out, that I caught when I was listening to her the first time. She's not just bad at debating. She's bad at putting together anything whatsoever that has to do with presenting her point. And it's 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 real. It's all, for lack of a better word, it's bad that you have 2 million subscribers and you still don't know how to do that part. That's insane. But anyway, what she said was men want. She included this in her thing with men want sex, silence, and sandwiches. Okay, for everybody listening, especially ladies, that is just a running joke, right? That is just a running punchline that you throw something out there to say men are simple, right? Now, obviously, human beings are more complex than that. Way more on both sides. Don't say that in an actual debate unless you are charismatic enough to pull that out, which Pearl is not. She said, again, she included it so subtly, really dry, and it stuck out like a sore thumb. Oh my God, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Boy, listen, and I'll speak for myself. Y'all can speak for yourselves in the comment section. Listen, of course, you do want sex in a nutshell, which I probably shouldn't explain this because when women do shit like this, they just go, but who doesn't want sex, silence, and I shouldn't even explain it because of that. Anyway, yes, of course, men want sex. Yes, of course, men want silence, not to be bothered, not to be fucked with, not to be nagged. Put that under silence. And food and home cooked meal, that's the sandwich part. Again, it's just an oversimplification of something. So again, unless you're charismatic enough, do not put that in a fucking statement of an actual debate. My God, Pearl. Anyway, we're gonna go. This is the start of his, and yeah, like I said, he might speak for 3 minutes before I interrupt, but we'll see. And again, this is a 2 hour debate. I'm absolutely not going to go over the whole thing. If I get enough people that comment on this and like it, we can do a live reaction to it, and I'll do a panel. But y'all know I haven't did live in a long time because you fuckers don't show up. So let's go.
Trent, whenever you're ready, I'll click the 10-minute mark. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, real quick, they're not supposed to interrupt each other. He didn't interrupt her the entire time. She almost made it, but she did interrupt him at the end. But those are the rules here.
All right. Well, Pearl has the burden of showing that marriage is a bad deal for men, and all I have to do is show that she hasn't made her case. And notice...
Okay, my bad. I didn't catch this the first time. Is that accurate? Because I can understand if anybody will, we can say Pearl, but we know it's obviously way bigger than Pearl, saying that marriage is a bad thing. Isn't that a response though? Isn't that when people say, hey, this marriage is a bad deal, isn't that really a response to people just casually, blindly getting married because it's just a thing to do? Wouldn't that be a response though? I can understand how he would say it isn't. But that's just how I look at that when I hear that. To me, that's a response to, hey, you shouldn't just get married because, right? Whatever.
Pearl's opening statement, she never cites a study of married men in general to see whether they think marriage is a bad deal. So to
Oh yeah, my bad. I really lied. Dude, plenty of married men have said, "Don't do it, bro. Don't do it." Hell, a guy I worked with for a couple weeks, he told me, "Don't get married, dude." Listen, he showed me this dog ass car. If I was a car guy, I'd probably look her up for him. And she come up missing. He showed me this dog ass, this black and chrome, one of them old school cars. I forget what it's called, but just a nice, just it was dope as shit. He said he had to sell it and split the profits with her because something, 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 something. Now, do I know if he had any wrongdoings? No, I have no clue. But again, this is a married man saying, "Hey, marriage is a bad deal." So, and that's been said by quite a few married men over time. So, I mean, do you want literally people to sit down and do a study of married men who say marriage is a bad deal? Here's the problem, and this is why I really hate when people over rely on studies because they never really dig into the study itself. If I want to say is marriage a bad deal, you know what I would do? I would go visit a bar and see and look, and I would personally look for like single dudes who are a little older. Like, yeah, he's probably married. Let's go ask him. Or he's probably divorced. Let's go ask him. I will look up some. I will go find places that a lot of divorced guys hang out, talking shit and get their, whatever. Hell, where's the bar closest to a divorce court? Let's go interview those people. You think I could pull off a study that says without a shot of a doubt men should never ever get married? Stop doing this. Please stop doing this. You can come up with reason and use and also include stats to show why something is bad or good, but you don't rely on them the way a lot of people do. Don't do this.
show that she's wrong, I'm going to point out 3 fallacies that Pearl makes in her arguments. So first, there's the wrong target fallacy. For example, Pearl talks about how marriage is a bad deal because men are sometimes mistreated in child custody cases. That's not unique to marriage. If you cohabit or even just hook up with a woman, you can still father a child and deal with custody issues.
Okay. Does it have to be unique to marriage? He's not wrong to bring up something not being unique to what you're talking about, but then you have to ask, does it matter, right? It's almost like saying, but men do it too, or but women do it too. It's almost like doing that. Somebody else doing it doesn't make what you're complaining about all of a sudden painless. That's not how that works. It can kind of balance it out to say where else you gonna go, but it does not. It does not cancel it out again, right? Like he said, brought up custody battles as an example. Yes, you can end up in a custody battle whether you're married or not. But custody battles being a part of a divorce that comes after a failed marriage, that is something worth pointing out. So I'm not, I think I'm going to come across a lot of things here because I was only half paying attention while I was listening to it at work. I might have come across a lot of things that are only half wrong, or maybe not even all the way wrong. Just I don't really fully, I don't want to fully let it slide or something like that. We'll go with that.
However, marriage makes a man the presumed father of the child with natural rights unmarried fathers don't have.
Oh boy. Yo, I live in Detroit, Michigan. It was a video that came out like 10 years ago, something like that. Dude, go look it up. 3 dudes and one of them was I believe a pastor, if I'm not mistaken, was presumed father because they were married. He wasn't a daddy. And I think it was like 3 of his 5 kids, some shit like that. It was some number like that where it was like little under half weren't his or something. Dude, That's not always that can get abused. That gets abused, believe it or not. Where y'all be married and in some cases y'all split up and she go fuck somebody else and it isn't on purpose. But then sometimes it is on purpose and her just bastardizing that system and saying, yep, he the daddy. You're not gonna question it, are you? Because we did fuck when I came back as insurance and you the like shit like that. So, hey, be careful with that one.
Even though unmarried fathers can still be liable to pay child support. The children of unmarried...
Come on, dog. Don't mention child support ever in your defense. Like that shit crazy. Come on, bro. Stop doing it. Especially now where they're trying to push their damnness child support at conception. Which like you don't even get a fucking chance to say, yeah, I'll be there for the kid. You don't even get a shot. They just say, nah, nigga, we pulling that check now. We're pulling that check now.
Men are 10 times more likely to be aborted. And if the child does survive the pregnancy, he's 3 to 6 times more likely to live in poverty.
Let's hear that again.
To pay child support. The children of unmarried men are 10 times more likely to be aborted. And if the child does survive the pregnancy, he's 3 to 6 times more likely to live in poverty.
I see what he's doing here now. Because of some shit that I'm not going to reveal that comes up later. This dude is... I'm starting... I gave him an honest chance before. But now I'm starting to think this dude might just end up being a piece of shit, dude. Damn. Dude. That stat does not tell you anything about what you're defending. At all, dude. 10 times more likely to be aborted. Well, aren't you including like one night stands in there? Are you including men who had affairs in there? Are you including the Zion Williamsons in there? Like, that is a shit stat to use to say that, to show some benefit of marriage. Do you understand that she still has control of that? And I'm, at least in most states, I would want to say in every state, but I'm not sure. You don't get control over any say over that because you're married. That again, that shows that a lot of hookups or just flings involve a child that the chick said, fuck, I guess I'll be honest enough to kill this shit. That's all that says. And then the whole poverty thing, again, that tells you that those very same flings, when they do come to term, those women don't get the benefit of that guy's check. Because they probably either don't know him, they're probably just fucking around with some dude in the hood. All that's like bro, come on. Seriously. You know that whole study where they say women who have degrees are more likely to be married to other men with degrees? Something, I forget exactly how it goes, but something like that. They're also more likely to marry the guy in like at the school who is more likely to have a higher wage, which means he's less likely to be in poverty, which means his child, if coming to term, which is more likely to come to term because there's more of an incentive for it to come to term, is less likely to be in poverty because he has more money. Dude, you are a piece of shit, dude. Oh my God. I hate when people do this. This is what I'm talking about, that over-reliance on stats and studies. They can be manipulated so well by people to do shit like this. I hate when dude, God damn it, dude.
Hazards of unmarried, much less for married men. Another wrong target is women themselves. Pearl says marriage is bad for men because modern women are worse than previous generations of women. But that says nothing about marriage. If modern women are good enough for hookups that can result in children, or cohabiting relationships that superficially feel like marriage, but are far more likely to fail, then modern women are good enough for marriage.
Dude, why did you tie those two together? Again, piece of shit. Why did you tie those two together? Let's go back.
For hookups that can result in... Pearl says marriage is bad for men because modern women are worse than previous generations of women. But that says nothing about marriage. If modern women are good enough for hookups that can result in children, or cohabiting relationships that superficially feel like marriage, but are far more likely to fail, then modern women are good enough for marriage.
Did you see the two things he tied together? The second, the latter part of it, where people who cohabitate, who do everything but go down to the courthouse. I can agree with them on that. It's like, what exactly? Like, why don't y'all just drop your own prenups or something, do some paperwork, and like do away with it? Like, what's the point of this whole hell? Because just talked to my childhood friend the other day. She lived with her third baby daddy, I believe. I believe he's the third baby daddy. I can't remember. But she mentioned like marriage came up somehow, and she said, "Nah, I ain't gonna do that." I'm just like, why, y'all? Like, cause they've been together, living in the same house for shit. I don't know how long, 6, 7 years at this point. Nah, I don't want to get distracted. I want to finish this and I'm just like, yo, you literally already live with the dude. What are you talking about? Yeah, but marriage is like then this and then. It sounds like she's trying to tell me without actually saying it. It sounds like she's trying to say, yeah, but I can just bounce anytime I want to, right? So when situations like that, I also say, I mean, I don't understand why you just wouldn't get shit in writing at this point. But fine. But how the fuck can you tie that into if they're good enough to hook up with? That's not the same thing. Not even close. You talking if I meet a chick at somebody's barbecue and we start fucking around, oh, she's good enough to wed. What? What the fuck is you talking about? I dare you, I dare you to look any woman in the face who has her own shit and is using some dude just as like a little dick appointment that so she get a rock so because she has knees as they say on Kendra G. I dare you to look those women in the face and say he's good enough to marry. I dare you. I fucking dare you. They slap the shit out you. Tell them they might as well get married to this dude because they fucking. Shut up.
Which has less harms for men. And Pearl can't use these stats to dunk on women because men are also worse than previous generations. Modern men are just as promiscuous and are even more overweight than modern women. A 2019 Experience study found that men carry more credit, auto, and mortgage debt than women. Millennial and Gen Z men.
What stat was that? What stat was that? Now, he said credit, auto, and mortgage debt. Let's redo that.
Overweight than modern women. A 2019 Experience study found that men carry more credit, auto, and mortgage debt than.
Come on, dude. Let's knock this mortgage one out real quick. Sir, women are willing to move into that home. So it's actually encouraged that he has that mortgage debt to get a wife. Dude. What the fuck, man? And then you don't think people are smart enough to pick up on this? The dudes who are already skeptical are going to hear this debate and know you're full of shit, dude. You didn't even try to be honest. That's insane. You didn't even try to be honest. Damn. Auto debt. Men are also more likely to like take out a loan on a work truck. Right? They're also more likely, and this is what I will say is a fault, more likely to do something stupid like get a flashy car because he wants to impress women. I think that's also stupid. That's not equivalent to the home because it's a lot more practical than a fancy car. But that's that. And another thing where I will say it's technically a fault, but also not a fault because it's so encouraged. Ain't a dude more likely to finance a car for a chick? Ain't he more likely to do that? I'll give you a half for that one. But the mortgage, I'm not giving you at all. I'll give you a half for that one. Credit card debt. Dude, what is the credit cards covering? That doesn't tell me shit. What is it covering? Isn't he also more likely to cover the bill on the date? And then another date? And then the other date? And then the other date? Isn't that more expected? That you're not even saying where it comes from. You're just using blanket. This is why I hate blanket stats. I really hate these. I really do. Because people like this take blanket stats and go, see, I found something that supports my point. Now, when he says overweight, okay, fine. I'm not really here. I hate the whole argument of, but where is the weight? Where it's the number's good enough. The number's fucking good enough. All right. Um, I don't think we need to worry about what else he said because I forgot. So we'll just move on.
Women. Millennial and Gen Z men have weaker grip strength and make less money than older men did at their age.
Okay, dude. Do not group Gen Z in this. Don't fuck the people who are quiet quitting. Like, come on, dog. You really you gonna attach us millennials to Gen Z when we criticize the fuck out of Gen Z for some of their ideas? Come the fuck on, dude. And grip strength, I'm not exactly sure why. You're. What does that prove? Is that like showing of ability to fight or overall strength or something? Like, I don't get it. Like, we have less sex, so how can you use our jack off numbness to, like, wouldn't our strength be even more in grip, dude? All jokes aside, but making less money. I'm not sure why they did studies on this. I don't remember the studies. I don't know why. Um, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. Some people say it's from not working hard enough. Some people say it's from blah blah blah. I'll give an example of myself. I currently work full time as a truck driver, but if I wasn't a dumbass last year and fucked up so much money, and also I didn't have a job that I actually like going to, I would be looking to go to part time real soon. And with a lot of dudes just giving up on the family life, I would like to know how many, like how that has affected that study, right? And I also would like to know somebody to explain how the whole making less money thing would carry uh, more mortgage debt. Now it was comparative mortgage debt to women, but I still would like to know what like how that works out, So, I mean, it's uh maybe not. Moving on.
Pearl has not shown that women are not good enough for men. Instead, the data shows men and women are both in bad shape compared to previous generations.
Okay, I can agree to that on surface. One thing that I would like for people to start doing is define what you're talking about, because we say marriageable and stuff like that. Like, we got to define what that is today, because you can't say it's the same thing as yesterday. And that really pisses me off actually, because I've heard like when they talk about men being marriageable and all that shit, it still has to somehow do with leading and providing and protecting and all. And it's like, I thought we changed all this shit though. I thought we did. We can't only change the dynamics for one half. You immediately change the dynamics for the other. Immediately. When that other side says we on our own, we out here, you can't just now always still keep, oh, well, you still have to be the protector, the provider, the leader, and make money, and you can't do that. Because you've already upset that dynamic there. That dynamic can't exist still. It can't. You've taken that away. You like I will always use this as an example because it's a great example thing to use. For example, the Kendra G show, when chicks say they leader, but at the same time, if he isn't willing to lead her life exactly how it is, without change, he can't be a leader in her life because she ain't willing to give up no amount of traveling, no amount of bags, a leader. And it's just an example, right? I'm not saying that this happens. It should happen. This is an example. A leader, if he sees fit, he should be able to walk in there and go, yeah, this is not the budget for this. This is, what the fuck is that? We are not spending this much on bags. We are not spending this much on flights. We are not spending this much on fucking outings. This is more so how our budget would be structured based on what we have. Y'all will say, no, 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 you're not a leader because I'm not happy because. Like, you've upset the dynamics in that regards. So I would like for y'all to start saying what makes a marriageable man, what makes a marriageable woman. And then make sense of it. Don't tell me what should be either. Tell me what is. Us millennials in our 30s and or early 30s, early 40s, I believe. I believe that's the range. Tell us what makes us marriageable on each side and make sense of it. Again, do not tell me, well, the men should be this, the women should be. No, 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 no. Tell me what is right now. Because we're not about to live, again, I'm 33. We're not about to just throw away all that shit y'all taught us for 2, 3 decades. And then for us to get here and go, yeah, no, that changes. Fuck that. No. We lived identical lives. Me and my female counterpart, we lived identical lives up to this point. No fucking way are you going to put all of the performance burden on me as far as bringing a check in and taking all the physical risks. We're not doing that. We're not. You're going to tell us what makes us marriageable, and you're going to make sense of it since you have these opinions.
But there's hope. Marriage is the best way for men and women to mature together and bring out the best in one another.
If you do it young, if you do that shit at 33, y'all just two 33-year-old motherfuckers in the house together trying to live, trying to make it another 20 years. That's all that is. Do not sell me on some bullshit. You're going to balance each other out and you're going no you're not. Not after 30. What you just said, sir, is relevant when you're marrying at 18, 19, 20 years old. Don't bring that shit to 30s. Do not. Go vintage Gen Alpha with that shit.
Second, there's the anecdote fallacy. One sad story about a marriage does not show marriage itself is bad, because for every sad story Pearl can bring up, I can statistically bring up 2 to 3 good stories about happy marriages.
Anecdotal stories about something this sensitive is very powerful. And again, you said one. Dude, I told you one about a dude I worked with a year ago. You want me to go, you want me to, when I go to the gym, I can see all the bachelors, especially the bachelors who are a little older and they took care of themselves I know a dude who's a muscle head who like does like some engineering shit. So he got bread and he's a muscle head at, I believe, he's damn near 50 at this point. You want to tell me how he ain't killing it out here? I see the chicks he get at the gym. You want to tell me how you to compare that to a dude who's married? Because again, you want to cherry pick. I have statistical. Dude, I can literally go get you some examples that would kill all these this stats you want to bring up, dude. Stop doing this. I understand. No, one doesn't, but a collective is very powerful, dude. And we hear it quite a bit. We've seen it quite a bit. I'm not sure if you believe that, and this is real talk. I'm not sure if you believe, like a lot of people have told me, that anybody who shares views like Pearl or views with Pearl, that they get them all offline. Because I've heard that. Y'all have to stop doing that. In no way is that the case. Listen. We have seen this for ourselves. Again, 33 years old. Us millennials, we've had people explain directly to our face what's going on. Men and women. The whole single mom thing and choose better and blah blah blah. I personally have seen female family members, female friends, friends of friends, extensions beyond. When you go back and do the social math, you hear one story. Oh, this guy, he liked me, but I just wasn't feeling him, and blah. And you see it over and over again. Oh, I didn't like this guy because, but, and then this guy did. Then you see their baby daddy. And then you start going, when you hear these stories, when you hear these debates, you go, holy shit. You did have. So you mean to tell me you had what is considered, quote unquote, a nice guy, little shy guy, little Hell, I had a female family member, and I'm keeping it vague purposely just in case somebody hears this. Um, I was with her mom when we pulled up to the church they go to. And this dude came out and was like really trying to like basically saying like, damn, I be trying to push up on your daughter, but she just be like, she be curving the fuck out of me. Now I thought it was a little sad because he's he's all the way to the point where he's talking to the mama. But that's some church shit. That's like how community actually works, people, ladies. That's how community works. But and then her response was basically, y'all tell her, but you know she don't like you, nigga, right? You know she's go say no again, right? Huh? Alrighty. And how long later? A decent amount of time later. She I go to my mom's house and then I see that a lot of people aren't there that was supposed to be there. And it was because they had to go run up on her man for whooping her ass. So you curve this dude who's in the church, one of those happy wife guys. You pass that up to get with a guy I've never met because she doesn't let anybody see him, who ends up whooping your ass twice. Then after that, you go get with a guy. At this point, I could have just fucking said her name at this point, but you go and get a guy who, some shit that he dealt with. Her car ended up in a shop because some bullshit with her baby mama. You think that would have happened with the dude at the church? Like, come on, yo. Like, we can do this all day. We seen this shit. We don't just. It ain't just the internet. We've seen it. Real life.
And there are many stories about sad, sick, lonely men who never marry. Pearl cannot prove her case with anecdotes. She needs actual data that proves married men are worse off than unmarried men.
Okay, again with the data. It's all how you perceive that data. Until the lonely old men part, listen. I've said myself, I've been saying it for, a little while now that people, y'all really need to like really start to like because everybody says, "Oh, I can die. I'll buy a dog and die alone." And both sides said, men and women, listen, for the 100th time, none of you know what it's like to be old and a motherfucker and by yourself. Can we please stop doing that? Can we please stop doing that? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Now, that doesn't mean that you still have to just take whatever the fuck. No, but we need to calm down with the I am more than willing to die by myself. We don't know that. We don't know what it's like to be Listen, we all got horrible diets. Like he said, overweight. Like most of society is overweight. Most in America. 80 years old ain't gonna look like your grandparents 80 years old. And they asses was still on pills and shots and all that shit. Our diets is a million times worse. How the fuck you think 80 gonna look for us? Those of us who make it. So, I mean, however y'all want to take that, but just saying, I think people have just got the wrong idea about growing old by themselves. I think when people think of growing old by themselves, they immediately go to like the oldest, healthiest single person they can think of. You know, the whole rich auntie thing and shit. I think that's what people think of when it's like, no, you really have not come to understand that old ass person that's at home. He said the nursing home. No, but think about at home and the people that day don't come visit you. That's who you got to think about. Your hands started shaking on a day that ain't nobody came to visit you, and now you just sitting there, can't open your bottle, can't do shit. Moving on.
But no such data exists. Even marriage skeptics will only argue at best that marriage doesn't increase happiness. They all agree that men who marry are better off concerning health, wealth, and happiness than men who never marry. If
Who made that argument? I the best the best I will the most I'd say is that people have made the argument of if you come to a position in the worst case scenario, or meaning like it's a bitter divorce or some shit like that, or like he said, child custody. But I don't think anybody says, well, that I heard. I don't listen to all red pill channels, but I haven't heard anybody make the case that absolutely staying single means your health would be better. I've heard the money part would be better because you don't have anybody that's there actively taking from you. But I honestly think we think way too much of money. Like, I don't know if the last few years have shown anybody, but that shit can mean nothing in almost an instant. How many people is bitching about my candy bar is $7 now? Like, I really don't understand this whole that this focus. I understand if you're 20, like, need money, because you broke as shit. But when you get an adult, grown as shit, at some point you really got to stop worrying about how many travels you can do, how many Jordans you can buy. Like, at some point, the freshest car. At some point, can y'all just go, fuck it? At some point, or is it this never ending? I got better than you. Like, it's like, how long does that last?
Pearl can't provide peer-reviewed data to prove otherwise, then her case fails. Third, there's the comparison fallacy. Instead of stories involving the risks of marriage, Pearl oftentimes just points to the risks of marriage itself and says that's a good enough reason to not marry. She says, just as you wouldn't fly on a plane that has a 5% chance of crashing, you shouldn't get married, even if it has similar low odds of divorcing. But if you look at the worst outcomes of one choice while ignoring the worst outcomes of another choice, that's the comparison fallacy. It's like someone who thinks driving is safer than flying because they only read a bunch of stories about plane crashes and never think about car crashes. Of course, flying is far safer than driving, and marriage is less risky than non-marriage.
Okay. So with this one, I don't know what the fallacy is called, but it's definitely a fallacy when you're kind of ignoring the fact that people can look at the risk and decide, I think I'd rather deal with that risk. And to assume that none of us have is beyond arrogant, dude. Again, like I said, you don't know what it's like to be older than the motherfucker by yourself at 80 with your bad diet. You don't know what it's like to be 80, older than the motherfucker by yourself, and your kids don't like you. And your ex-wife is, or your ex-husband, whoever, is just basking in the, I hope that motherfucker over there dying. Like, you don't know that either. And to play both of those in your head side by side, it's like, well, shit. If I'm gonna go through that at 80, I'd rather do it myself. I don't want it to happen at all, but shit, I'd rather go by myself than to have put all this effort into other people. Now, if you say, but it could be a success, it could. Hell, you could be on, also comparative fallacy. You could be on your own, living your life, and die at like 45 because you partied it up and you croaked that night. You lived your life to the fullest. You died. You died with like $5 to your name because you said, fuck it, I'm going out tonight, and you went out. Like, some people call that an exciting way to go. So it's at that. What you're arguing at this point is somebody's taste in death, dude. What the fuck? Somebody's taste in what risk they're willing to go through. Dude, let it go. Let it go. And again, part of the reason, and I don't think people ever really address this, is part of the reason that dudes consider this is because the other side of the equation, women they did this a whole entire generation or two ago. They said, fuck y'all, we got jobs now. They say that shit to this day all the time, and it's annoying. They misplace it so much. Oh, we have jobs now. What are you gonna do to get us? Like, do you want to be hacked? The fuck you talking about? You like me or not? Yeah, but I have a job. So do I. How you gonna get me because I have a job now? I have a job too. What the fuck? Do you want me or not? I mean, I do, but I don't need you because I have a. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a. Fuck it. Like, there's the other side to that coin there. One of the part that you have to give to the Red Pillars or Pearl is that they do address this. They say, yes, this is something you got to account for. The other side saying, no, I won't be with you if we can't travel X amount of times a year. I was just talking to a chick on Facebook Match. She said, I didn't find her attractive at all, but she did come on. She did jump in the inbox rather pleasant. So I entertained it for a while to not be an asshole like, don't fucking talk to me, I won't talk to you. But she herself said she likes to travel every 3 or 4 months. And it's like, no. No. I hate planes. We can travel once a year for like 2-3 weeks maybe. If I got the PTO approved. That's about it. Do you think the other side is willing to do that before they're 50 years old? The other side of the equation has made it very clear. Unless you had a dog-ass deal, we ain't doing this get married thing until... I'll holler at you at about 45. I'll holler at you then when I'm tired. So what exactly are you supposed to do with that? What do you do with that? You really think what you're saying now is enough to change some minds? Really? Dude, another thing. We have the internet now. They've been talking shit on social media since it's been around. They made it very clear. Yeah, when we get with y'all at 35, we really don't want to. But, I mean, for stability's sake, fine. Then those be the guys who go through those either sexless or like very little sex marriages and all that shit and like it's just like it's not a good picture you get. I guess you could say it's equivalent, to be fair, to women when they hear how women would be like, and he left me with 3 kids and $2. Like, I guess that's the equivalent. So good luck fighting against that, because what you saying on this so far ain't working, dude.
Cannot compare the best outcomes of non-marriage to the worst outcomes of marriage.
Yes,
to be fair, you must compare the typical outcomes in both cases, be it flying versus driving or marriage versus non-marriage.
I don't know how that helps you. I don't know how that helps you. Because if you say, to use your analogy, the typical outcome of flying is you land. Okay? The typical outcome of riding in a car is you put it in park. Why the fuck would we talk about that? Why? If you are in favor of driving versus flying, when you're talking to people, you say, hey, if that plane engine fails, yeah, he might work some magic and land in the water safely. Can you swim? So it will suck to be you in that situation. But if he's not that good, y'all just die. Whereas if you're in a car, I mean, you might hit somebody head on with a seatbelt, airbag. You might get T-boned, maybe, but it's not on your side. You might break a bone or two. Like, you're still alive and not burning from jet fuel. Like, why would we go, well, over here you land and over here you put it in park? See? Like, that's a retarded That's stupid. Why would we do that?
And Pearl exaggerates the harms of marriage and ignores the harms of not marrying. For example, according to the National Center for Family and Marriage Research, the median length of all marriages is not 7 to 8 years, as Pearl often claims. That's the length of marriages that end in divorce, not all marriages. The median length for all marriages is 21 years. And the divorce rate is...
I can appreciate that. I think people do need to start being very specific and not loose with language when they're talking about that, because as you see, sets a totally different understanding and outlook on what you're talking about. If your marriage now, it doesn't, I don't think it does much, to be honest, because if my marriage does fail, on average it's like the 7th year. Like there's even a show called The 7-Year Switch, because they took married couples at 7 years who somehow didn't have kids, and they switched them for like 2 weeks, and it was like that was the show, just to get them to understand. So 7 years seems to be the actual length of like, oh fuck, here we are getting a divorce. So should I start looking at like year 5 to see how it's going? And why is it that it fails at average year 7? Is it because of kids? Is it because of finances? Both? Is it because of infidelity? Is it like, what is the reason? Like, you still have to tell me the reason here. Now you made your distinction, which again, that's very respectable. But I personally would like to know, what are these distinctions that cause the divorce?
Closer to 35%, not 50%. 50% was a future projection from the 80s that has since been falsified. In fact, we are now seeing the lowest divorce rates since 1970. About 14.
Based on what is my question? The lowest divorce, because I've heard this before, the lowest divorce rate since blah, blah, blah. But based on what? And is that across the board? Or is it just like in the poor segment of marriage? Is it in the richer segment of marriage? Like, where is that? Or is it all over? Also, does it have anything to do with the lower marriage rate that we've ever had? Because I've heard that is incredibly low. Also, people that they have these terms for all these things. They're getting married now, but not having children. Does that play a part in it? And the reason I'm asking this question is not just to be a dick, but if it is true that something like children is playing a huge part in why people aren't getting a divorce, well, I don't think you would like that. Honestly, wouldn't somebody like you say, yeah, we're, get married, but don't have those kids? So I really think you need to be careful with that stat that you just put out there.
15 divorces per 1,000 married women. For weekly churchgoers, the divorce rate is half the average rate. Also, just because 35% of marriages end in divorce, that doesn't mean you have a 1 in 3 chance of absolute misery. Divorce sucks, but people typically survive it intact. In fact, men do better than women after divorce. Men's income increases by 20% on average, while women are twice as likely to fall into poverty after divorce.
I really don't understand what would be the point of this. When people do this, they act as if, oh, this is what made you get a raise. You got a divorce. Dude. All right. So I'm gonna use your stats here and talk to me. Hey, bro, are you married? You still didn't get that raise? Dump that bitch. You'll get the raise. Like, come on. Why did you think this would help you? Why? Do you realize you just presented divorce as a positive thing for men? Do you realize that? Like, this poverty bitch was holding you back, David. Dump her. Come on. You didn't see that? Dude. Anyway, my bad. But this is also on par with the whole married men make more money. I hate, do y'all like, how do y'all suffer so bad in putting all this together? Or do y'all do it on purpose? Like, think about it. Married men, live 3 years longer. They always throw that shit out there because those 3 years in senior citizen is Damn needed. But they also tell you married men make more money, which is probably why they live longer because they can afford the better health care, right? Right. Um, but did he just say they're more likely to get a raise? Well, yeah, they're more likely to have a better career, sir. Why do y'all keep giving credit to either the marriage or the woman? Why? And this will go to his later point, honestly, but aren't men who make more money more attractive? Men who are more promising in their career more attractive? Men who, and then you want to say live longer? Men who are healthier, aren't they also attractive? More attractive? So that's like a double thing in that stat that people never seem to want to point out. And if you're divorcing at year 7, which you're likely to have married, or I would like to see the stat on this. These men who make more money, do they typically get married sooner, or do they also still get married like later? I would like to see that. But if you're getting divorced on average at the 7 year mark, give or take, when do you think the raise typically comes in place? When? Like these past 3 years have been the best years that I've ever seen for a raise at work. If I had got married to the any of the either of the two women who were willing to do it, I would have by the numbers been divorced by now. And the raise would have came when? After. And the two chicks, I don't know what they're doing now, but at the time they was broke as shit. And if I was to make enough money to cover all of this and that, blah blah blah, I can guarantee you those two chicks would have not tried to get better jobs. I can to guarantee you that. So would divorce have result in those two going back into poverty because I ain't gonna help them? You bet your ass would have. So can you please start telling the whole story? Y'all full of shit, dude.
Alimony is only paid out in less than 10% of divorces. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the average child support payment is $441 a month, of which only 60% usually ends up getting paid.
Okay, here's the thing about the alimony. Alimony is not rich dude payments. That's not what alimony is. If you look it up, at least here in Michigan, it's a wide range of things that is simply paid from one spouse to the other spouse post divorce. It can be transitional support, which I've seen on divorce court one time. It was like 600. Like he had to pay her rent, and they had to give her like some money on top, something like that. No, it does not have to be a buku amount of money. I think the one thing that saves dudes from having to pay alimony is that not only do women also work jobs today, so it's like you're not as likely to get a big amount anyway, but also most people literally think alimony is rich dude payment. That's what they think. So I think a lot of working class women just don't even think about it because people think it's rich dude payment. And as far as the child support, the average child support I would like to see what that includes. This is one of those stats where I really do want to just dig a lot deeper and understand what the fuck is in that. And the reason I say this is because I knew this couple in high school, they had 2 babies in high school. And his child support payment was $28. It was $28 fucking dollars. Is that included in the study? Chicks who out here getting knocked up by dudes that's in and out of jail, who ain't got a dollar their name. Is that included in the study? Because if those are included in the study, that study's some bullshit. Straight bullshit. Because if you do what I call the middle daddy study, you know, the dude they decide to get pregnant by before they go back to the streets and create more bastard children, I guarantee you that his child support payment would be well above $750. Well above it. And if you want to poo-poo that, go take $750 out of somebody's budget and see how that works out. I guarantee you it ain't gonna be nothing. They're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm about to go homeless. Go add 750 to their average person's monthly budget. See how they don't jump for joy. I would go tell me who's all included in that study, and I can point to how that $400 is some bullshit. Cause I guarantee you they're counting the dudes who ain't got no job. They only got to pay like $100 a month, or if even that. No, only 40% gets collected. Again, probably. But remember, if you pay child support, it likely comes right out of your check. So it sounds like a lot of these child support little situations by dudes who ain't working, might be in and out of jail, all that.
Moreover, women do not get child custody 90% of the time, as others claim. 95% of custody cases are mutually agreed upon outside of the courtroom. Women.
I hate that. I knew that was coming. I hate that. Telling me that we agree on it most of the time outside the courtroom. Okay. That does not mean I don't have to worry about if she's not happy with it. But and me being a strict person, she won't be. That I'm now at mercy of the court. That's still some bullshit. It should not be me, her, create baby or babies, and then she goes, you know what, let's be fair. We both go, oh fuck this, I'm out of here, I want to go. And now I'm at the mercy of her taking me to these people with a gavel. Y'all remember that thing that kept going around on social media? You pay $500 a month in child support, and your baby mama throwing a birthday party, and she asks you for $750. Do you do it? And it's like, what? How old is that kid? Like, people got mad at me for asking these questions. How old is the kid? What exactly are they trying to get for the birthday party? Like this, that, blah, 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 blah. If she gets upset and I say, yeah, that our kid is 2. We're not, no. No. How much? Listen, balloons, okay, balloons, hot dogs, hot dog buns, popsicles. You want some popsicles too? Fine, popsicles. You buying the soda. That's the birthday party for a 2-year-old, but shouldn't even be that. You mean to tell me that you've never seen bitter baby mama or heard of bitter baby mamas saying fuck this? I'll let the courts handle it. You've never seen that, never heard of that. To say that that's not a concern, or that we should just totally look over because most people decide outside of the court. The court is still there. The court is still there. What the fuck?
Get full custody 40% of the time, men get full custody 20%, and shared custody makes up the remaining 40%. Women usually agreed upon outside of the courtroom. Women get full custody 40% of the time, men get full custody 20%, and shared custody makes up the remaining 40%.
Oh, we not about to poo-poo that. We not. Men are as likely to get full custody just as likely as they are to split the custody. And then maybe you will do it after, but you don't tell us how much, if the child support is still owed, even though it's shared custody, because I know that is a thing. But then the mother is twice as likely to get full custody as either other situation is to happen. That you need to really, really like show me why that's a legit acceptable thing. I really need to know. I'm willing to listen.
Women usually get full custody because men don't ask for it. In a Massachusetts study of 24,000 divorces, only 8% of men sought custody, and 94% of them got full or partial custody. Finally, a 2006
24,000 divorces. Was this just but they say Massachusetts or Minnesota? Let's just say Massachusetts because I forgot. Was this just in Massachusetts or was this nationwide? That's a legit question because I'm not sure of the culture in Massachusetts. And he said that what did he say?
Of the time, men get full custody 20%, and shared custody makes up the remaining 40%. Women usually get full custody because men don't ask for it. In a Massachusetts study of 24,000 divorces, only 8% of men sought custody, and 94% of them got full or partial custody. Finally,
did y'all see the way that was worded? He said, "Man, don't get full custody because he doesn't ask for it. We don't ask for full custody because who the fuck wants to be a single parent? But we can either get full or partial custody, which remember the numbers prior to 94% of the time likely. I'm not about to replay that, but we're 94% to get either or if we simply ask for it. So which means if we go to the court and say, hey, can I at least get weekends? Dog, you not slick, bro. You not. After listening to these debates, these elections, all this, I done kind of figured out how to listen to people bullshit. Dude, you full of shit. And it's horrible for people to be full of shit about something like this. Because now you're the same thing as you trying to say that people like Pearl are just shooting down marriages. You're just making a positive thing by hiding some of the things that are legit problems. Men aren't likely to get full custody because they don't want full custody. They want to split that shit. No rational person wants full custody. That is literally just a chick being bitter. That is literally just a chick being bitter who wants full ass custody. Because that's stupid. It's like stupid to break up the home in general, but to want sole custody when there's literally another parent, kind of moronic. Kind of moronic.
2006 study in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health showed that while divorced men were 27% more likely to die prematurely, 58% of never married men were more likely to die early.
Why do we keep bringing up the stat? Die prematurely of what? What are we prematurely to die of? A stroke, HIV, high blood pressure, what? A plane crash? What are we more likely to die from? Damn.
Never married men risk growing older and having few or no social connections. Pearl can tell lots of horror.
I really hate this. If you didn't catch it because the way I paused it, he said, never married men are less likely to grow old and have any social connections. Well, yeah, because women are less likely to marry men who don't have social connections. Because, marriage kind of requires people to, know other people, which we call social. Marriage doesn't typically seem to make that better, right? Right? You kind of already have to be somebody that people at the very minimum, there's Joe. We kind of fuck with Joe. He's alright. He really tries to stay away from people, but he's cool when he comes around. Married guys in some circles, not all, so take this for whatever, grain of salt. I actually have a running joke of wives trying to set them up on adult play dates because it's he doesn't hang out with people. Because you don't automatically, just because you're married to your wife, doesn't mean now, her friend's husband is I'm going to be friends with him now. No. You know how many dudes I've heard say, what, Matt Walsh has said before, which is, I have no problem with living secluded somewhere with just my wife, kids, and my truck and my property. Even in marriage, dudes are just I really don't need that many people around. So if you're even less social than that, well, no shit, you're not likely to be married. Ever. Y'all full of shit, dude. Come on, man.
Stories, apparently, about men going through messy divorces. And my wife, who is a registered nurse, can tell you all kinds of horror stories about men dying alone in the hospital, spending every day by themselves, staring at the same blotch on the ceiling because they had no one to ever come and visit them. Now,
Okay, people are in those situations because we won't let them die. I know that sounds harsh. It is. But seriously, People are in that situation because you won't let them die. I went to train as a CNA before. I thought it was some quick, okay money. It wasn't. But dudes were literally in there just like, bro, like, let me die. Like, real shit. It was like, oh my God, please. Like, because they didn't, like, this one old guy particularly, he's like, why do y'all keep coming here trying to bathe me and change me? And just let me die. It's like, he don't want to, he's old. He's out of it. He can't walk by himself. Can't eat by himself. I don't think he gave a fuck that people wasn't showing up. He's like, nigga, I'm old. Like South Park had that one episode where old grandpa was trying to kill himself. Yo, believe it or not, there are people who do not like old age. They don't. They don't like the fact that they need assistance with everything. They don't like the fact that they have to like be very like conservative with their energy and careful with their movements and shaking hands. Some people don't. Some people love just being able to open their eyes. I have a life. I don't give a fuck whose burden I am. But some people's like, you mean to tell me I can never play ball again? Cause I've reached that point. I can't even go to a 70-year-old league and limp around that bitch. I can't do that. Oh, fuck this. Where's the elevator? Like, some people don't like old age. So don't give me this, oh, my wife's a nurse and she saw. Ask her if she was allowed to let him die. Ask her that.
Men desire marriage and are unable to find a wife, which is tragic. But rejecting marriage out of fear is like the person who refuses to go to the hospital because he worries about medical errors, but doesn't think about people dying at home from easily treatable illnesses. The comparison fallacy once again. That's probably why 65% of divorced men get remarried. 93% of men say they would marry their spouse again if they could do marriage over.
Okay, so let's do that part here. 65% of men who get divorced remarry. Again, married men make more money. Married men are also healthier. They likely were both. Likely. Not always, likely, were both, or either one of them, before they got married. Which means, unless they shit the bed in either area, they're likely still more attractive than a dude who never married. Like, that kind of how that works out. And then in 93, they say, oh yeah, I would marry my ex-wife. Yeah, no doubt. Probably because they're not the ones who signed up for the divorce anyway. That you get that? You get that? Believe this or not. I don't know why people try to make this into a lie or untruth. People. Men actually really like stability, routine, structure, familiarity. I follow a chick right now. I started following her because she did like a series of like what I feed my family, what I cook and all that. That's why I followed her. I only knew what her hand looked like. Turns out she fine. But I learned that when she got a divorce. And all of a sudden she like, you see me? You see me? And now she posting single memes all over the place and da-da-da. She even posted one time saying, imagine me cooking like this and you fumble me. Telling her followers. So I asked her, very politely, how do you fumble you? No answer. But you better believe she putting that ass on the gram. It should just be her hand. Now she putting that ass on the gram. Got a new man on the gram. Got the whole nine. The whole single lady shit you see, that's what she doing now. You think he wanted that? She wanted that newness. I heard a story on Twitter some years ago. God, I told y'all before, this chick has to be a prostitute that's walking up my block. That's all she does. Like I told y'all before, some years ago, I saw a chick who said, oh, my aunt's husband thought he was just gonna be able to cheat on her, and then some shit like that, like she found out he cheated, and then like so she divorced him, and now he's been begging for her back for like a decade or something, and blah blah blah. And she's been living her best life, and I immediately knew while she was telling the story. She never really wanted that marriage. That was some stable shit. That was some, he's here. People are saying I should. That's what that was. She didn't like that fucking guy. Y'all will stay with a broke ass nigga that cheat on y'all and get herpes. Let's be real. If you break with a dude that cheat on you, you never liked him. Real talk. He was just there because, well, who else was your option? The only dick guy?
If Pearl is right, as she said in the past, that marriage is a death sentence for men, then why do most men voluntarily go back to death row after they've been released, i.e. divorced? Well, it's because these men correctly identify what Pearl has failed to grasp. Marriage is not bad for men. It's not a bad deal for men. In fact, marriage is typically a good deal for men. It's no wonder God told Adam in the book of Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone, and so he made Eve to remedy this problem. Now, to make it clear, it is a lie that half...
If you can hear her sighing on the side, that's Pearl. Now I know why she jumped in and cut him off. I thought Pearl was just so being real. Now I see, now when I'm listening to this, I know why. If you're going to watch this video, I don't believe Pearl ever really mentioned him, this guy. But this guy in his monologue, Pearl said Pearl, or Pearl doesn't realize Pearl. And Pearl. Yo, I'll be sitting there too like, nigga, how many times you don't mention me? Just say your fucking point. I can't interrupt you, but you gonna keep bringing me up? Move that shit along. Don't keep bringing me up.
Of all marriages end in divorce. The truth is that most marriages last a lifetime, and 80 to 90% of them identify as happy. A Gallup survey conducted between 2008 and 2020 of 800,000 adults showed that married people rate their well-being 12 to 17 points higher than unmarried people. The General Social Survey from the University of Chicago, a gold standard in sociological research, shows that married men are twice as likely to rate their lives as very happy when compared to non-married men. And the majority of married men, in fact, I'd say 80% of them, identify themselves as happy. Married men also make 10 to 20% more money per hour, and they have more sex than never married men. Pearl says that men face sexless...
Another, god damn it, dude. Never married men. You're not just including the dude who I said was in his 50s at the gym who killing it. You're also including the three incels at the gym that women ain't looking at him because they got the experienced dude over here. Like, you can't keep doing that. We've made it very clear. That yes, they prefer a smaller amount of men, which is why they can get remarried 7 times. Like, you cannot keep doing this. We know sexless marriage exists. We also know the dudes who can fuck their wife and like 7 side bitches. We know that. Dude, you cannot keep doing this. You cannot keep just throwing these numbers out as if we don't see between the lines. Come on, bro. Come on. This is so trash. So fucking trash. And then you stated again, 10 and 20% more an hour. Bro, listen, I am never married. Any of the races I've ever had, even the recent ones, he ain't never said, "You married, bud? Got a couple kids on the way? We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna take it." I'm not saying that doesn't happen. That's not ever happened. I've never heard it. Ever. So why you keep saying, bringing this up as if marriage you want to fix our financial woes, while later on saying, let's get to it.
Marriages, but the General Social Survey shows that unmarried men are twice as likely to have a sexless life than a married man.
No shit.
Studies also show that even men who end up divorced live longer, are economically better off, and are just as or even happier than never married men. Now, Pearl might say these studies only prove that happier, richer...
Notice he said just as. Just as. Or just as or. Fair enough.
Men get married, and unhappy poor men don't get married. But when you look at the typical married man, he is not a 6'2" rich Chad. Moreover, if a man chooses to marry, then men get married. So that even men who end up divorced live longer, are economically better off, and are just as or even happier than never married men. Now, Pearl might say these studies only prove that happier, richer men get married, and unhappy poor men don't get married. But when you look at the typical married man, he is not a 6'2" rich Chad. Moreover, if a man chooses to marry...
You see, I hate when people do that. He know damn well nobody's saying only the rich and the tall and sexy get married. We know that's not the case, dude. But they're more likely to get married, which means they're likely to have more of the marriages, as opposed to a dude who's like a regular ass janitor at the elementary school. Like that's what people are saying. Again, if you go and watch these dating shows, these podcasts, they're telling you, bruh, if you make average income, you shouldn't even think about a wife. You shouldn't even think about this. You shouldn't even think about that. That's what they're saying. I'm starting to think, and again, listen, I didn't come here to be an apologetic for Pearl, but it's starting to really start to sound like I'm starting to sound like what she's been sounding like, which is you cannot sit here and pretend that like most like what these chicks are saying online. I missed my point. It sounds like here's where I was. It sounds like you're really only basing this off the older Christian married couples, because that has to be the heaviest part of your studies. It has to be, because there's no way you're involving 20s, and I give you up to mid 30s women in this subject to a large degree, because they're actively telling you if you can't keep up with my lifestyle, it ain't happening. A chick went viral because she said, "Oh, she just got to a point to where they just grew apart because she got a business now, she got degrees. It was time to move on after 5 years." You can't possibly include those people to the degree that which we would like for you to. Like you're bullshitting at this point, because those stats don't line up to what we're seeing, hearing, and what we have seen.
Then he needs to become marriageable, which involves developing positive traits that both make him desirable to women and improve his own self-esteem at the same time.
Okay, so again, if you didn't hear what he said, the whole thing, because of how he paused it, he said one of the things that men need to do to get married is to become marriageable. That's why earlier I jumped the gun to say, well, you have to define what that is. All he said was develop positive traits that women find attractive. Like ignoring the very point that women have themselves said, not just the red pill guys, not just the manosphere, women have said themselves, yeah, fucking around till like 40 is cool. Then at that point you gotta find, this kind of guy who's just nice and blah blah blah. One chick, I remember this one chick, just a fat, just not even good looking chick, was like, "You can't turn her into a housewife. Ha ha. I used to be the biggest hoe ever. Now I make meatloafs." And it's like, I just couldn't imagine if I married that. Just not only because people do this, including men, say, "Not a looker, but fuck it, I'll take it. Fuck it." She said she make meatloaf, great. But then it's like, "I was a big old hoe. Oh God. Why you couldn't just shut up?" But that is an example of a lot of dudes based on Pearl actually had a live stream like a few days ago that said, talking about porn. A lot of people came at her apparently. I don't know. I wasn't watching. I was just listening to her while I was at work. But she said, "Well, what are you supposed to do? Not busting up till they 35?" Well, this lines up really well with that. I'm hoping she used that in this debate, but knowing Pearl, she didn't, because she sucks at debating. But this is a very good example. Women have regularly said, they're, again, like I said earlier, unless you got a dog ass deal, they're not doing it before 30. They're not. So when you're saying that marriage is a good deal for dudes, who the fuck are you talking to, dude? Who are you talking to? And back to your point about developing positive traits, you do realize that those 9'6" chat dudes with a lot of money, with a long dick and a weekend house, write poetry, wink wink if you know the video, what exactly are those dudes going to do? Because listen, I said I hate that people ignore this, but most people fall into the line of, you ain't shit, but you ain't shit, so you're going to be a janitor. A lot of people are going to be fucking machine operators at the warehouse. A lot of people are going to be the stock people. So explain to me how what you said applies to dudes who ain't in the top 20%. Explain that to me. Explain how that measures up. Because what we've been hearing for like the last 7-8 years on social media is if you ain't a top 20% guy, you need to become one. Or sit down somewhere because you don't deserve shit. A wife, kids, nothing. So explain your solution for the bottom 8% of men. Explain that to me. Because what you're saying now, it doesn't. Develop positive traits. What are those? What are those? Seriously, I really need you to explain this shit so that it measures up with what you're asking. Because it doesn't to me. It doesn't to a lot of people. That's why listen to the podcast. That's why they exist. It sounds like you're saying just get married with an added, and develop something. Like what? Character ain't, again, if they just trying to fuck around till they're 35, character is going to get you what? Unless you have the money to go with it. Being in shape, you're just going to largely fall into, unless you can find somebody that'll marry you young, that shit ain't gonna work. Oh, and have you seen these reels on Instagram or on TikTok that are telling women, don't marry your own potential? Do you know who that immediately knocks out of the running? Young dudes. So if they listen to this, which a share of them do, you still got men who aren't going to be able to marry until they're 30, 35 at best. Who the fuck are you talking to? You need to make that clear. Who are you talking to?
But I'm not arguing that marriage makes people happy. I'm arguing against Pearl's claim that marriage is a bad deal for men and steals their happiness. That's just not true. In fact, marriage is the best. You can't interrupt when I'm talking.
You get a 5 minute after this. He's got 1 minute.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay.
There will be time. I'm excited for that.
Okay.
In fact, marriage is the best way for men to not just hang on to happiness, but to increase it. The Harvard study of adult development, which tracked people for 80 years, said good relationships were the #1 predictor of happiness. And it showed that men who marry...
Know what you just said there. Good relationships are the #1 predictor of happiness. You want to explain that in a world where we focus #1 on materials things? You do realize that, right? Did you think I didn't listen to this entire 2-hour podcast because it was, my God, it was painful. These first 2 dialogues were painful for me. But I hope you did. I hope you brought that up, because that is a really, 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 really big deal right now. Again, traveling, Birkin bags, shoes, being able to post it on the gram. They're not taking relationships as the most important thing. We live in a society that is taking personal belongings as the most important thing. So you're going to have to make sense of that if you want to sell that as a talking point, as a selling point.
We'd ended up happier and lived 7 to 17 years longer than men who never married. And that's a study for people over 80 years of their life. When I was unmarried, let me actually go through here. Well, yeah, when I was unmarried, I thought that having 2 folding chairs and a TV on the ground were appropriate living room furniture. But when you're married, your wife shows you something better. And
oh my God, I hate this. I really hate this. Ladies, listen. And all you people, dudes like him. A chair, this squeaky ass chair I got, and a big screen TV, that's enough. That is enough. Now, here's another thing that I really hate. There's this guy called Destiny who I don't watch him, but I do see him debate people in these circles quite a bit. One thing that I've heard him bring up 4 or 5 times. Oh, when the man and the woman works, the woman does most of the chores still, and that's not fair. Now, this has nothing to do with this debate, but I do want to point out that you see why that study is skewed and it's unfair and makes no sense. It makes no sense. Because a guy will be like, well, first of all, I'm gonna minimize chores, and then secondly, the ones that I have, I can kind of not do them today, or I can wait till the end of the day. I kind of got to set up that way. Women, job, invent chores. You invent them. Like, I'm not saying like brand new ones, but you bring your own shit. That doesn't really matter. My grandparents on my father's side. Listen, and I'm not saying none of this is out of fault at all. But my grandfather, you know what he liked to do? He liked to wake up, go and get a coffee, smoke a cigarette, enjoy the sunshine during the summer, ride around, look at some scenery. Enjoy his pension. You know what my grandma like to do? You know what my grandma loved to do? We need new carpet. We need new carpet. That's what we need. We need a new kitchen. We need a new kitchen. That's what we need. A new kitchen. We need a new living room set. We need this dining room table has been here too long. Need another one. Need one. Is it broken? Who wanna old die? We need a new that's like, people. Please don't start understanding that some of this shit that people complain about stems from simply men and women being this different and never bridging the gap. All right. Now you can say who's the more at fault of that, whatever. I don't care. But I understand that that's largely at play there.
She roots for you. A 2013 Harvard study showed that married men are less likely to get cancer, and married men are even more likely to survive cancer, showing that married...
Because they make more money and can afford the fucking healthcare. Dude, please stop doing that. This is literally the 8th time you brought this point up. They got more money. Damn.
Is a good deal for men. So finally, I'd be remiss to point out neither men nor women invented marriage. God invented marriage. He gave it to the human race. Christ raised it to the level of a sacrament. And Pearl would have to give overwhelming data to show that something that God gave us is actually a bad deal for men. And she won't be able to do that.
Okay, now I'm going to stop there because it's pretty much at the end. I think that's a really dishonest thing to do, to make somebody have to debate your religion. And I don't believe Pearl is religious. I don't. And then you're setting it up to where they got to say God's wrong now. And you know damn well people watching this are going to say, you can't say God's wrong. Why the fuck? Why? Why can't we just debate marriage? Why? Why can't we do that? Why do you have to be so dishonest and bring God into it and he's your bodyguard now? If you was going to do that, why didn't you you should have just gave a sermon and took your ass home. Or sent Pearl home, something. Because it was what's the point now? Because now we're literally fighting God at this point. We're verbally fighting God. This is so dishonest. But man, if you made it to an hour and a half, listen, I appreciate it. I can't think of anything else I want to add to this at the moment. You know what? Let me give my own personal thoughts on this. On marriage and whatnot. Is marriage a good deal for, men, or I'd say me? As of right now, I have to say no. And the reason I say that is because when I listen, I told you I'm exclusively online at this point. Facebook matched, and for 3 days I was on Kendra G's app. And some chick ghosted me. I don't know why, she just did. She pulled the whole I gotta trash my phone real quick. One of those. But for one, because I see what dating is, and I wish I could edit in a video to show you some of the nonsense. Hell, I seen a clip today where it was a reality show. And in mid-conversation, the dude was like, yo, I just wanted you to come show me some support on my birthday and shit. Just pull up. And she immediately hit him with, no, you wanted me to court you like I was you was my girlfriend. Basically call him, that sassy shit like that. Then we all know about the date multiple people at one time, right? Then we all know about even if you're not dating multiple people, she doesn't even owe you the decency of not leaving the date and fucking another dude with the food you got sitting on the coffee table. Like not even that. Holy shit. So for shit like that, are reasons I just don't even date. All the problems that come with it, all the nonsense, the two-facedness and all that. I just don't even bother with it. I tell chicks when we swipe right, this is how I do it. We can go through this process. You say yes or no. If not, I get it, right? And so that obviously puts a wedge in the ability to get married and all that stuff. Also, because my deal breakers for marriage, from what I've seen, immediately chicks don't want to deal with it. One being, I refuse to have separate bank accounts. You see my last video, or maybe second to last, where there are a lot of women who are saying, no, I need to be able to spend my money without you being able to say shit. And it's like, with that, why are we having the same address then? What's the point? What's the point? So, like, you want to be able to work full time, and then just we still stay separate and go halvesies, and then like this doesn't make sense. Like this is stupid. Why do we move in together and get married? This doesn't make sense, right? So that's one deal breaker that I just absolutely will not do. I refuse to do it without paperwork, which is known as a prenup, and for some reason, because people think that is like rich people stuff, I have actually been accused of wanting to trap women. And it's like, you do know you can still put in your terms in the paperwork. Like this, like that's insane. That to even think that, or use that as a cop out. I've never got to this point because, again, all the prior deal breakers. But one question I would absolutely ask is, what is the most pettiest reason you see for that you would say is a good enough reason for divorce, or worded something like that? Because we've seen all of the, oh, we just grew apart. Oh, I got more money now, so I mean he wasn't on my level, or he didn't give me enough, like shit like that. I'm out. I'm not even gonna entertain it, because to me it's like I just can't. I cannot bring. I can't really get. I can't get with that, because I'm letting you know now. If a kid was to come up and you do some shit, I'm not co-parenting. I'm not. I'm not. You don't even leave the kid, or you don't take the kid. I'm not about to start a family with you. You go, I'm just not feeling the setup no more. I want to leave. But then I got to be willing to fill the setup you want. That's not gonna work. So the chances of me getting married are just like 1% below. So, the question was, do I think it's a good deal? With that in place, again, I'm still gonna lean on that weapon of family court, that willingness to just leave. No, because you are always at somebody else's mercy. Always, 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 always at somebody else's mercy. Be right, not positive. I'm out.